Good evening, everybody. My name is Griffin, and today I will be showing you around St. Benedict the African Catholic Church. First, let's get into a little bit of the history of this church. St. Benedict the African is located in Englewood, a neighborhood in the south side of Chicago. The church building itself was designed by the renowned Chicago native architectural firm Belly & Belly. What is particularly interesting about this parish is that it is one of the few Catholic churches built in Chicago that serves a predominantly African American community. What makes St. Benedict the African especially noteworthy is the amazing art that resides within the church, mixing together themes of Black spirituality and Chicago-based motifs. The church emanates an unmistakable aura of tranquility. Unlike other churches where the atmosphere relies on solemnity to foster a connection to God, by making use of live plants and other greenery, the church exudes its sense of life and vitality. By being close to nature, one feels almost closer to God himself. Now that I've talked a little bit about the background, let us actually enter the church. Beginning with the doors, one can see a series of black figures marching towards a central stained glass point. Like most of the building, these figures are constructed of natural materials. In this case, they are black walnut. Looking closer at the piece of stained glass centrally located in the door, it is revealed that the walnut figures are marching towards a heart. This window is the first example of art designed by David Sisko, a prolific Chicago artist. As you will begin to see, Sisko designed his pieces with two central themes in mind: love in the form of heart imagery, and the innate connection we have with nature. The varying shades of blue in this piece are reminiscent of water and waves. Water is an integral part of both our natural environment and Christianity, and it acts as a purification agent of sorts. As these walnut figures march towards the cleansing, everlasting love of God, we too complete a similar pilgrimage every time we walk into this church. When you first walk in through the doors, you are immediately greeted with a rather striking monument, a large baptismal pool. Like the first Catholic churches, St. Benedict the African uses a natural immersion pool to remind each and every member of the church about the sanctity of baptism. What I personally find quite neat about this baptismal pool is how its design elicits an immediate connection with nature. The multicolored cobblestone and moss gives one senses of ancient perpetuity. Cleansing oneself through baptism and following in Jesus' footsteps is a natural thing, and the design of this basin reinforces this idea. The water in this pool is not stagnant, but instead, there is a steady flow stemming from an opening in the stones. The flowing water is another central image in the Bible, and is strongly associated with our belief in Jesus Christ. The verse John 7:38 emphasizes this. He who believes in me, as the scripture said, from his innermost being will flow rivers of living water. Overall, the baptismal pool evokes the central idea of St. Benedict as a whole, the connection between our natural surroundings and God's gift for life. And now, we get to my favorite part about this church. The first thing that stands out to me when walking into St. Benedict's is the incredible amount of live plants and natural scenery. For a little background, I like gardening, and I'm fascinated in how landscaping has the ability to change the way we think and feel. To me, I find that a little greenery goes a long way in making places feel homely and welcome. It appears that the people in St. Benedict's follow a similar vein of thought. I know that when I enter a lot of Catholic churches, sometimes I feel that the grandeur in architecture is a bit imposing. For example, when you enter a church like the Basilica of the Sacred Heart at Notre Dame University, it makes you feel small. The huge ceilings and Baroque stylings are beautiful, to be sure, but it's almost overwhelming in a sense. St. Benedict the African, on the other hand, has a more intimate atmosphere. Surrounded by life, nature, and running water, you feel closer to God in another way. You realize God's beauty rests not only in architecture, stained glass, and paintings, but also in the plants and nature around us. Building on this theme of nature and the environment, I want to showcase a few pieces of art that are on display in the church. These next two pieces are additional windows designed by David Lee Sisko. The first depicts the namesake of the church, St. Benedict the African. What is really neat about this piece is how it combines environmental themes with St. Benedict's heritage. The living water from the baptismal pool is illustrated in the bottom half. And if you look over towards the left, Chicago is represented by the Sears Tower and the John Hancock Building. Opposite the two buildings, in an example of juxtaposition, there existed an image of a leaf. Between the two, of course, is St. Benedict the African. All three central images in this glass showcase God's beauty in different ways. Another interesting fact, or at least I thought it was interesting, was how the entire pane is made out of Ethiopian glass and is used as an homage to St. Benedict's background. The second example of stained glass I would like to show you is one of the living cross. Here, we are shown a crucifix that is made of wood, with leaves sprouting out of it. Similar to how Jesus' death on the cross gave birth to new life for all of us, the leaves symbolize rebirth, as they grow from the cross and Jesus' sacrifice. Another aspect of this piece I would like to bring to your attention are the colors that are used. By utilizing blues, browns, and greens, we are yet again presented with a connection between the earth and God's love. Combined with the heart in the center of the stained glass window, the idea of loving God through loving nature is promoted. The environment is one of God's loving creations, and we should strive to protect it and cherish it. And that will end our presentation. Thank you all for your time today, and if anyone has any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them. Also, if anyone gets a chance, I would definitely recommend visiting this amazing place.